cahoots to destroy Egypt. Now, no one really knows the origin of this theory, but many people point to a clip of Gohmert on the House floor in March of last year in which he equates giving $1.5 billion in aid to the Morsi government with support for terrorists.
This administration, through Secretary Hillary Clinton, is going to announce that it could care less what Congress has ordered about helping the enemies of Israel, about helping those who are terrorizing and persecuting Christians in Egypt, and they're going to give $1.5 billion, not in humanitarian aid, according to this story, not food, military aid.
But here's the thing. Despite the fact that most of that money, $1.2 billion of it, in fact, goes to the Egyptian military, and none of it goes to the Brotherhood, the idea that the Obama administration is partnered with the Muslim Brotherhood has spread like a pandemic across post-coup Egypt. Take a look at the version of Louie Gohmert's speech about military aid to Egypt making the rounds in Cairo. That, according to Google Translate, is called "Congressman Exposes Obama's Support for the Muslim Brotherhood."
This administration, through Secretary Hillary Clinton, is going to announce that it could care less what Congress has ordered about helping the enemies of Israel, about helping those who are terrorizing and persecuting Christians in Egypt.
President Obama, you invited the Muslim Brotherhood to the White House?
Egypt right now is in a period of extreme tension and ferment. Violence lurks around the corner, and suspicion and factionalism runs deep. Into this very fertile soil, Louie Gohmert, of all people, has managed to plant the seeds of a conspiracy theory that is now, quote, being stoked by an outpouring of dubious pronouncements from both state and private news media. And it's having serious consequences on our perception of the region, the safety of journalists there, and American foreign policy. Joining me now from Egypt is Sharif Abdul Qudus, a correspondent for Democracy Now!, who joins us via Skype because it is after the curfew in Egypt right now. I've been reading that anti-Americanism in Egypt right now is at a fever pitch. Has that been your experience?
I think that's absolutely true, Chris. I mean, the United States has come under fierce criticism from all sides during the latest crisis. Supporters of the ousted President Mohamed Morsi accused the Obama administration of giving the Egyptian military a green light for what they call a coup in ousting the president, while the opponents of Morsi, namely the military and the security state, have blamed the administration for cozying up to the Brotherhood while it was in power and ignoring its many transgressions. And you saw just a clip of kind of the state and private media using very nationalistic language and trying to whip up the sentiment against the United States, which is very popular. But I think it's important to remember that the vast military funding that goes to Egypt, $1.3 billion every year, and the strong ties that between the Pentagon and the Egyptian army, little doubt that Washington's strongest support is for the generals.
Well, let me stop you there, because that to me is what's so interesting about this entire situation. Obviously the American government was allied with Mubarak for years, gave billions of dollars in aid. If you were to say to me that Egyptians are angry because the U.S. government is too closely aligned with the Egyptian military, or it was too closely aligned with Mubarak, I would understand. But the notion that America, of all places, which has been prosecuting a global war against terror, against jihadis and Salafists and extremists of all Islamic varieties across the world for 10 years, that people would think they were in bed with the Muslim Brotherhood, I would not believe you.
Right. I mean, I think, look, while Morsi was in power, there was a relationship, of course, with the Obama administration and the Muslim Brotherhood. We saw Mohamed Morsi deal well in the eyes of the United States with Israel's assault on Gaza in November, and he was hailed for his role in that. And subsequently, after that, he issued a constitutional declaration which gave him these wide-reaching powers, and the Obama administration was quite silent. So there was plenty of criticism for the U.S. in that respect. But I think it's very important to understand that the Egyptian military is required required to spend this roughly $1.3 billion in aid to purchase weapons from U.S. manufacturers. These are the large defense contractors that have very powerful lobbying firms in Washington, companies like General Dynamics and Lockheed Martin, and they're the main beneficiaries of this aid. And most of these weapons that we get in Egypt, these tanks and F-16s, they're most likely to end up in a warehouse gathering dust than seeing any kind of combat or operational training. Egypt has more tanks, by one estimate, than all of Latin America and Sub-Saharan Africa combined. So this is really a subsidiary for these defense contractors who help to keep this pipeline going. And there's a very important aspect to the U.S.-Egypt relationship with regards to this aid, in that only Egypt and Israel have this special privilege where they can put orders forward for aid that they haven't even received yet. It's like a credit card with a maximum limit of billions of dollars. So it's very hard to shut down this pipeline because they're allowed to make these orders under the assumption that lawmakers will continue to provide the aid every year.
Sharif Abdul Qudus from Democracy Now!, thank you so much.
Thank you.